Good day, traders. Welcome back to this week's Market Fix. Things seems to have normalized from last week's extreme volatility, and this helps to give us a much clearer view of price action and also what to expect in the week to come. For this week, we have lined up an excellent mix of instruments with a look at crypto, commodities, indices, and Forex, meaning there will be something for everyone. I'm also highlighting a couple of very high conviction setups that I'm sure you guys will really like. This week, we will start by looking at our cryptocurrencies, and starting off with Bitcoin, we can see that on Tuesday, price has very aggressively rejected the monthly R1 pivot almost exactly, and it happened at about 52,500. We can see that there was a very big bearish candle, and currently we are finding support somewhere around our yearly R2 and daily 200 SMA. That's the line, the dotted red line, and currently it would be very important for price to remain above the monthly pivot, currently sitting at about 45,000, as a move below that could then trigger price to move lower towards the support area at about 40,000. And you can see that if we use our anchored volume weighted average prices from the previous swing high on the 9th of May, as well as that low on the 22nd of June, we can see both of those volume weighted anchored prices converge with our daily 100 SMA around the monthly S1. So that just tells me this is a very important level of support. So should price lose this 45,000 level, it's likely that we will be heading towards this area of support. In terms of a recovery, of course, price would need to get back above that yearly R2 pivot at 46,000, and then perhaps just get above that 21 daily EMA, and that would be around 37.5. So only with that happening could we expect a retest of this area up near our previous swing highs in this area of resistance at about 50,000. Looking at XRP quickly, we can see XRP has followed Bitcoin in that sell-off, and we can see that currently we are also trading right on this important area of support, where we have our monthly pivot, and just below that our yearly R2, which also offered some support. In terms of additional support, should price get rejected from this area, we could expect price to move lower into these areas where we have our daily 100 and 200 SMAs converging very close to each other, and also close to this area of support where we have our monthly S1 pivot, and also this area we can see previously price has found some support, all sitting at about 82 cents. If price were to move back into this area of consolidation that we saw over the last 2 weeks or so, I would expect price to find some resistance near the top of this range, especially near that high of that candle at about 1.25 or 1.25 cents, and only with a break back above the top of that range and the yearly R3 at 150 could we expect another move higher towards the highs somewhere between 136 and 142. Looking at commodities, we can have a look at gold and see gold is also struggling quite a bit, still trading above the diagonal support, and currently trading very close to this point of control in terms of volume, and that is sitting at 1,780. And as we've seen previously, this is a very important level as price tends to pivot around it, and if we can stay above this level, I'm pretty sure we can expect another attempt at the highs at 1,850, with a break above that level being very bullish, and a move towards 1,860 then to be expected. In terms of a break below this diagonal support, we can see we have our monthly pivot at 1,775. A move below that would be very bearish, of course, and we could see a move then lower, perhaps towards that support at the monthly S1 at 1,718. Having a quick look at the UK Brent crude oil, also still consolidating, price still remaining above our daily 100 SMA. We have this diagonal level of resistance, and I suspect should price be able to break above that, and especially above that level of 73.95 about, that could be very bullish, and I would then expect a bullish continuation with price reaching, not this week, perhaps in the next few weeks, towards that monthly R2 at about $81. In terms of additional support, should we see price breaking below the monthly pivot, keeping in mind that is a strong level of support with the daily 100 SMA also converging on this area. A break below that could see some support from our daily 200 SMA converging with our monthly S1 pivot at $65. Having a look now at our indices, I think let's just have a look at the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is still pretty much in an uptrend, and we can see that by all our moving averages trading above the previous, or the slower ones. So the 50 is trading above the 100 and 100 above the 100. And previously we can see that prices always tested successfully so far this 50 daily SMA. And for this week, we can see our daily 50 SMA is still below us at this point at about, I suspect that would be about 4,450. So very good chance the price will move into that area. And then we'll have to see whether it will find some support again, or if it loses that little support, there's a very good chance, of course, that it will test the next level of support, which is the blue daily 100 SMA, currently sitting at about 4,300. So just keep that in mind. Once price trades back above the daily, the monthly pivot at 4,480, gets back above that daily 21 EMA, I suspect we can then expect a move back towards the highs at 4,500 or 4,550, and only from there, of course, we can expect trend resumption with new all-time highs. Looking at the DAX, German 50. German 50 also currently finding some support from that daily 100 SMA, also this point of control at 15,500. So that would be a very important level of support, and also for the price to remain above that level, that's at 15,500. A break below that will likely see support being tested somewhere in the vicinity of 15,300. So that is where we have our support zone, just judging from previous tests of this level. And in terms of course, our resistance, we can see we have our monthly pivot setting at 15,700. So if price can get back above that level, so just draw that in, if price can get back above 15,700, only then you can expect a move higher towards the highs of those back to the previous all-time highs. And we have our monthly R1 setting at 16,000. Moving on to the US 50. US 50 currently trading on the daily 100 SMAs, finding some support from that level. In case of a deeper pullback, we have very strong support from this 34,000 level, and that's also judged on previous support, and very close to our point of control again and our monthly S2 pivot. So I suspect there will be a move towards that area should we break below the current lows from Friday, and those are sitting at about 44,500. And then, of course, looking at resistance, we can see we have resistance from our previous swing highs and all-time highs at about 35,500. So all very round psychological levels. And once we get all-time highs, I suspect we'll hit some resistance from that diagonal, as well as that monthly R1 at 35,800 should price find support from the daily 100 SMA. Moving on now to our currencies and Forex, we can see that looking at the GBPNZD, could be potentially based on our trend evaluation method, could be moving into a market phase 4, because we've now had a pullback towards this important 200 daily SMA. And so far it does seem to find some support. But what I do like about Friday's candle is it is actually a doji candle, so meaning it closed right about where it opened, but it did give us a high and a low, providing us with a range. So that would mean that if we can get back above the high at 1.95, that would be a breakout to the upside, so that we call that a range break, and that will then likely test this daily 100 SMA at about 195 to 196. 196, 1964 rather, to be specific. And in terms of a break to the downside, if we break the low from Friday at 1.939, that could then see a deeper sell-off towards this area of support, where we have our current, I believe that is previous support, just going back quite a while. That would be at 1.918. So a very well-defined trading range with clear breakout targets on both sides. So definitely want to keep an eye out for this week. Looking at the EURGBPUSD, also finding some strong resistance from this level of our point of control, our daily 100 SMA, and this level of previous resistance at 0.859. So I believe if price continues to move lower and looking for support, there's a chance that we can actually draw additional, let's do that, support line, or rather diagonal support line. So we can see that if price continues to move down, there's quite a bit of room to go still, with support sitting close to about 0.844 in this case. If price can trade back above the highs from Friday, that means it will be taking out the daily 50 SMA at 0.854. That could then see it trading back against that area of resistance at 0.859. Moving on to the GBPUSD. The GBPUSD, I believe, is currently looking for a trend reversal. As you can see, we've had quite a nice trend to the upside, a bullish trend, which does now seem to be reversing, with us now having broken below the daily 200 SMA, and we are still waiting for that break of structure. That can only happen if we break below our previous lows at 1.360. At this point, we are still contesting with that daily 250 SMAs. So if we get below 1.3811, I suspect a move to the downside, testing those lower levels somewhere between, as I've mentioned, 1.360 and 1.365. For a move to the upside, we would need to take out this point of control at 1.390, also coinciding with the daily 100 SMA at 1.390. So if we take that level out, then we can expect to move higher, and that will eventually probably head towards that monthly R2 and also a previous area of resistance at 1.412. Looking at the EURUSD, we've previously mentioned this pair in our trend evaluation method video. So if you haven't watched that, please go and have a look at that video. We can see we did expect a pullback at some stage to retest price structure, which we have now seen. We can see we have had previously support at this level, then it turned into resistance, and that resistance has now held up, and price got rejected at that 1.19 level. It's currently trading right on that daily 50 SMA and daily 21 EMA, with the candle on Friday looking a little bit like a bearish hammer at this stage, so that is bearish. So if price were to break below the monthly pivot at 1.179, I do suspect a move lower to at least 1.170. In terms of resistance, should price find its footing on this pivot level, it will probably just head back and test resistance at 1.190. Concluding with the US dollar to South African rand, after significant strengthening of the rand over the last 2 or so weeks, we have finally found some support from this 10-year diagonal level, and I'll really have to go back to something like the weekly and monthly time frames for you guys to see that, but that's the diagonal red line we have over on the screen over here, and it has just tagged at the 1407 level, which is the exactly right on that diagonal level. We do expect a move higher, at least a pullback at this stage. And just looking at Fibonacci levels, sorry, I'm just draw that the right way around. So if we draw it from the current low right on that diagonal towards the highs of the previous, just do that. So to the previous highs, we can see a 50% pullback would be at 1474, also where we have had previous resistance, and very close to our 38, where the 15 and 200 daily moving averages converge, and those levels are at, let's just move that green line up. So that would be at 1460, and then that 61 level at 14.89. So both of those levels are definitely worth keeping an eye out for, as a pullback towards those levels are quite likely at this stage. That concludes our technical review and market fix for this week. We really hope you liked this week's video. Remember to subscribe, as we are looking to very soon reach the 2,000 subscriber mark, for which we are very grateful, of course. So thank you very much for all of your support so far. Until next time, we wish you all the best with your trading, and remember, trade smart and trade successful.